state of the city is strong. There are 3 bullet points. First one is that this team, the team of 115 city workers, do approach their duties with pride. You know, the bottom line is we spent less than we made, and that's really a pat on the back for city council, for administration. Auditor's office works closely. Jack beats us down on a daily basis, but it's really no small accomplishment. And that we don't lose sight of who we serve, which is our community. Don't get lost on these are the 2 years, but if you look over the margin, really you're looking at $8.4 million and about 7.9. What you should see though is that the revenue is in blue, and so the year before we had 8.367 million, and we spent just under that. Last year we had revenues of 7,942,000, and we spent, as you can see from the red bar graph, we spent less than we made. A year ago, the message was we were down 2% on income tax from the year previous. This year, we're very pleased to report that increase in the income tax revenue was at 1.83%. This was a great move. This was both Mark Fissel and Jack Reeser brought this as an opportunity. Just like refinancing your homes, we refinanced the airport bonds last year. And over the remaining life of that loan, we'll save $108,000 because we essentially refinanced. That's my Jack Reeser picture right there. There are 2, almost like burning your mortgage if you get that paid off at home. We retired 2 more debts to the city. This was about an $80,000 debt to do the work years ago on Guntown Road, and this was a general sewer obligation of $178,000. So we make those borrows, we set up how much we're going to pay ourselves back, and of course, like we all would enjoy at home, once we get rid of that obligation, we can point those monies in slightly other directions. Last year, there were 7 of us on the administrative team that took a week out. And we did this under a grant, so it should have cost $2,000 per classmate, and we did this for free. But this was really about a concept of a leaner government, and so it was a pretty intense week. It was 5 full days at JVS, and that was called Boot Camp for Lean, Ohio. It's rare, we aren't always able to negotiate a 3-year contract with our labor groups, and so both police and fire agreed to a 3-year contract, so that's a feather in our cap. And of course, last year, at the end of the year, City Council approved that we'll move forward now with something of an economic development tool called a Port Authority. Last year, Jack and his office, his staff, had the highest award, and I think you have to help me with, there are maybe 35 or 3,600 cities or communities or entities, and they give out about 25 of these awards. And so City of Bell Fountain got the highest audit award. And last year, and Jack and I were invited to Columbus, we were recognized as a community because we were one of the first cities to say, sure, we'll be transparent. And so you could go home tonight, if you went on ohiocheckbook.com, you can click on Bell Fountain, and you can see, maybe not today's business, but very recent business, every check into the city and every check that's spent. And so we're completely transparent. These are some of Tim Nostein's highlights from a very busy year. Bike path, which was actually finished the fall of just before, actually dedicated last year. Several improvements to our water system. One you may remember up on Allison Road. Another out at the High Point coming down from JVS. Big sewer project that really increased our capability and our able to move some lift stations, but to return our sanitary waters back and more efficiently. And that was out on County Road 10 and 179, if you remember seeing some of that work. The Glenwood East pavement, that's tearing up in front of David's house, but we removed the old concrete. It really just didn't hold over the years, and we were able to replace that with pavement. Of course, we were able to borrow that money at 0%. It wasn't a grant, but we got a great loan. Last year we had 60 property owners jump into the voluntary curb and sidewalk replacement. Unfortunately, only 30 of those projects were completed by the end of the I guess you'd call it the construction season, so we'll pick that up again this year. And we spent $214 this past year in streets. Next year, we look to spend, $800,000 to $900,000. It may close in on $1 million. So we'll get a lot of resurfacing done. Quick numbers on municipal court. That's how many cases they saw, and 2 grants that they wrote for and were blessed with. Increased security, and $81,000 actually picks up another probation officer and a vehicle to transport folks. Here's some fire department statistics. Very close to the year before, so they have 2,600 runs. 2,000 of those are the medical runs. There's 562 fires. We're helping other folks in 250 situations last year in mutual aid. A lot of those, probably more of those are medical runs than fire. We completed 116 fire inspections. I like going to tell folks at lunch about this because this is free, and business owners should take our fire chief up on his invitation to inspect their properties for free. That's a quick statistic. About 10,000 feet of fire hose get pressure tested, and all of our city hydrants were flow tested last year. Here's a quick one on all the good work that parks last year. Great joint effort between Bellefonte City Schools and the parks to resurface tennis courts. We hosted a very nice event last year, which about 120 people came from other communities, and we were recognized for our 35th year as a Tree City, USA. Chris and his team, very involved, Mary Rutan Hospital, some other partners called Healthy Habits, Healthy You. We'll be hearing more about that, but he's going to make us all healthier individuals. Myra added a water treatment facility, and you can see that the numbers remain strong for youth programs in our parks. PD just added a new 911 system. 3 other departments would be our own county sheriff's department, Shelby County Sheriff, and the City of Sydney Police. Big focus last year. We continue in the schools with DARE and GUIDE police trading cards. Hopefully you're going to start collecting those as you ask your favorite police officer. Citizens Police Academy, they're about to begin their 4th class. Those are very successful. You know, last year, PD put together 30 different separate events that went out into our community. So the outreach is tremendous. And here's a bullet. I had to add this about the chief, but he serves presently as, I think, 2nd vice president for the Ohio Association of Police Chiefs. And that, I couldn't get Sarah to, my wife helps me with those, couldn't get any flashers. Here's a quick slide. I don't want to spend too much time. This shows you the battle we've had with paying for road salt through Willie's group with streets. So several winters ago, 13, 14, we were buying at a pretty reasonable price. We filled our bin last year 2.5 times higher as a commodity, and we didn't purchase salt. We got through the winter. And this year we're back down. You can barely see that $76 a ton. And Jim reminded me that we even picked up, we actually got a check for $8,000 because there was a settlement, some action that went against this horrible practice of charging cities way too much for their salt. There's a picture of our own wastewater treatment plant. Might interest you to know that they process 950 million gallons of wastewater. Out of that comes 306 tons of biosolids, a nice way of putting it, and we spread that on farm fields, and so we turn that right back over. Here's some of the repairs that happened under our water departments, and you see some of their busy call-ins after hours. Sorry. Utility department and tax, both dynamic years last year. We just had a conference call this morning with Rita. We're now officially up and running ahead of date, so folks can actually file online with Rita. The transition's been very smooth. They've done they've kept their promise. They created a timeline, and they met or exceeded our expectations. Utility department, Vicky's been so busy down there, but now you've probably seen your water bill as a full statement. We're excited to be able to add some new information as we send those out monthly. and we bought a new high-speed printer to help us with that process. There's 3 departments of our community, or our municipal building, that all went online. Utility is scheduled for later in 2016, that you'll actually be able to do electronic transfers from your banking. But all these were updated, so I just applaud all of them. Actually, 5 departments, this was one of them we just saluted, but these were renovations in the city. So we set aside those monies over the last several years, been saving it up, and there's some more efficiency out of it with the utility department, and tax office was just completed 2 days ago. So I don't know if Julia had that open to peek in there, but it looks great. There's our code enforcement officer in one of our great homes from Bell Fountain. Very similar statistics last year, 780 citations from West Dodge, and you know that's probably only about a third of his duties. He really does so many things for us with the city. He oversees grants and he works with the engineering office. Last year at the finish of the year, he was at 87-point-something%. So this year he's clocking 92% of those citations have resolution to them. Diane and company, the council last year put through a vacant building registry, so we're moving forward with that. And this year, in 2016, we'll be looking at certain standards of property maintenance, some expectation. And there are 8 homes that are, they've all been condemned, and we have CDBG money to demolish 8 of those structures this year. There's some Paul Benedetti wisdom. It's just some great chatter about our economic health. There's just good news coming out of that. We're working together. Here's the Workforce Task Force. This is a really neat committee that involves all the superintendents, some higher education, lots of industry at the table, and some of government. And we're really trying to meet the needs. If you folks own a business and you ever had a complaint that said, but the graduates in this area aren't meeting our needs, they're all at the table, and it's a nice collaboration. This was just I like to brag on this city team. They're very active in United Way. We're delivering, I don't know if you knew that, 2 people once a week will go out on their lunch hour and deliver Meals on Wheels. And we did that as a team of 18 of us, and we just volunteer our time. Fire department gives away scholarships. They're very involved with the Susan Komen Foundation, and of course, in many ways, we help with parades and events. This is my last slide. Thanks for indulging. These are some of the opportunities before us this year. Housing is always a concern. There aren't, last year, Tim, this was on your sheet, but I think we had 14 housing permits or something like that. It's a very small number. There's not a lot of new housing development, so we want to certainly encourage new homes, and we want places for people to live who want to come and work in our area. Traffic system can get smarter. Over the years, if you can imagine, apples, oranges, and grapes, the traffic lights, depending upon when they were put into service or when they were repaired or replaced, now don't have the technology to really tell the next one down the line, hey, we're all going red or we're going green. That'll take some money, but it's a dream that someday, and that really feeds on economic development and gives a positive vibe to people moving through the city. Municipal pool, always an opportunity. It's had a couple summers in the red, and so we're hoping for a nice hot summer, aren't we, Chris? Everybody goes swimming. We mentioned the Finance Committee. This is the 25th year we're celebrating our sister city relationship with Suzuka. There's a new showcase downstairs. We're going to have that sister city packed in there. We're going to put that in tomorrow. Courthouse, we look forward to celebrating with them because it's in the center of our town, but that's going to be later this year, probably sometime this summer, and just some other things we're working on. Thank you very much.